Hi everyone, welcome to Monica's Singapore Kitchen. Today I will be cooking satay chicken pies. These pies are crispy, flaky on the outside and filled with aromatic and flavorful chicken satay. Come along with me to see how these delicious pies are made. So first we will try to make the filling. I have 3 pieces of chicken boneless thighs which I've already marinated with half teaspoon of salt, half teaspoon of pepper. I've heated up half a tablespoon of oil, and the plan is to fry this chicken pieces 5 minutes on each side over medium heat. So once 5 minutes has been, has elapsed, it will look something like this, very nice golden brown. So continue to fry it for another 5 minutes on the other side. And the idea why we want to fry it first is to impart a very nice aroma to our satay chicken filling. The next stage is to cut it into smaller pieces. You can use a knife, or I normally use a pair of scissors. So every piece cut into smaller pieces. Then we want to heat up 1 tablespoon of oil. Here we have got satay sauce. You can buy it from the supermarket, or if you want to make your own, you can click the link in the description box for my video on how to make the satay sauce. So I've taken 5 tablespoons of satay sauce, stir fry it for around 2 minutes over medium flame. So put back the chicken pieces together with the beautiful, lovely sauce. Yep, pour it in. So our chicken and our satay sauce are both already cooked. So we need not cook any further. So what we normally do is at this stage is to mix the chicken and the satay sauce thoroughly. So we have done that. And what we need further to do is to chop it into smaller pieces. I use a food processor to chop it. If you do not have a food processor, not to worry, just use your knife to chop it into smaller pieces. So give it a few rounds of blitz. And the size of each piece should look something like this. Yeah, the consistency should look something like this. Now at this stage, you might want to add 2 or 3 tablespoons of satay sauce to make it a little bit less dry, and if you want it to be more aromatic. Yeah, so once you've done that, you can then pour into a tray to cool it. So while this is cooling, let's make our dough. So I have got water and salt mixed together to form a salt solution. So this is the all-purpose flour. So I'm going to mix the salt solution with this all-purpose flour. So a little bit of water at a time, and then continue to stir it, as we pour the water. So the plan is to get it into a shaggy mess with flaky bits of flour, all sticking around. Yeah, something like this. So when you reach this, what I did was I used my hand to gather all these flaky bits so that it forms a smooth ball. So you can just press the ball and the flaky bits will stick to it. Something like this. Yep. Now, so what we want to do then is to rest it for 20 minutes at room temperature. This preliminary resting will make it easier for us in the next stage. We need not need it for too long. Basically, we just need it for about 1 or 2 more minutes, to get into a smooth, shiny ball. So lift it up and then knead for about 1 to 2 minutes, and that will do the job. See? Immediately it forms smooth and shiny ball. Okay, then roll it into a cylinder with equal cross-sectional area. Try to make it as about this length, this long. And we want to cut it into smaller pieces. Yep, so we want to cut it into 12 pieces of dough. So I normally cut it into half first, then into a quarter, and then each quarter I will cut it into 3 equal pieces. So all in all, we'll land up with 12 pieces of dough. So I've got some oil here. Take a piece of dough, and then we will roll it into a small cylinder. Yeah, something like this, a small cylinder. And then roll this cylinder around the oil. Yeah, to coat it, each cylinder we need to coat it with oil. So put it on a platter, on a tray. Continue to do the rest until you reach the last piece. So then we have got all our 12 pieces. So we need to rest it at room temperature for about an hour. This makes it much easier to manipulate afterwards. So after resting for 1 hour, we are ready to make the pies. So smear a little bit of oil on the work surface so that our dough will not get stuck. Also smear some oil onto the rolling pin. Okay, take a piece of dough gently with the fingers, press it so that it forms a long rectangle. Something like this. And then use the rolling pin to roll the dough so that it becomes even more thin. So the thinner it is, the more crispy our pies will be. So at the left side, I have broadened the dough because this is a side that I'm going to put the filling and wrap it around. Then I will further pull it in such a way that I made it even broader. And then we are ready to put the dough over the put the filling over the dough. So we're going to wrap all around the filling, put a little bit of oil as we go along, exert an equal force onto the dough and pull it gently with an equal force. Try not to tuck it or jerk it because this will cause the dough to break. So just a gentle, equal force and slowly pull it and makes the dough even more thin, and that results in our flaky, crispy pies. So when you reach the other end, the right side, you can actually, optional, just continue to roll it until you reach the end. Or what I normally do is to broaden the surface a little bit further and cut it into strips. I have got this dough cutter that can cut into strips. If you don't have this, not to worry. You can just use a knife to do it. But be careful when you use a knife, as it might cut our silicone mat. Yeah, so be gentle. So when you reach the end, pinch this thing and tuck it underneath our pies. Gently press it so that it forms a disc. So continue to do for the other 11 pies, and eventually you'll get all together our 12 pies done. So the next stage is to final stage actually. You can fry it. So heat up oil, sufficient oil, so that it reaches half the height of the pies. So our plan is to fry it for 5 minutes on each side over medium flame. I have fried it uncovered because our filling is already cooked, so I'm not too worried about having to cook raw meat. And so 5 minutes would be sufficient. So you can see this, how beautifully golden brown it has turned out. So on the other side, also 5 minutes. So after 10 minutes of frying, put your pie on a rack to drain the oil. So we have fried 6 of them now. So I've fried in batches. So we have another 12 to go. So the other 12, we do the same thing until it's all cooked. 10 minutes of cooking time, 5 minutes on each side. So after that, also lift it up onto the wire rack to drain them. Here we are, 12 beautiful golden brown, delicious and crispy pies. Here optional, if you want it to be more crispy, you can put inside the oven for 7 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius. This is a perfect snack any time of the day, especially for breakfast. So let's try one. So crispy and it's very delicious. Hope you have the opportunity to try this recipe. And as always, happy cooking and have a wonderful day.